Hello, friends. This is John Klein III of episode 227 of Shadow and Flame of Magic, your premier Kitty Pryde Lockheed and Magic podcast. And today we are going to review my favorite Coca-Cola series, Marauders Volume 1, Number 1. And we're going to spoil the heck out of Uncanny X-Men Volume 6, 27, and then quickly Generation X 23, 3, Jubilee. Nope. Wiccan Witches Road 5 and Wolverine Weapons of Armageddon 3. But first, just want to say rest in peace, Jerry Conway. He passed away recently at the age of 73. Co-creator, Punisher, and Power Girl, and so many more. Also, he was the writer of Death of Gwen Stacy. Like he ran Marvel. He was the editor in chief for a while. Like he had a remarkable career and a comic book legend. And apparently the creator of He-Man died as well. And I know some people just connecting dots are like, shoot, the Punisher's coming to theaters, He-Man's coming to theaters. Like these poor creators, they're not seeing their creations on live action, but they both got to see them before. But just shoot, like new projects coming up, I just want to think about them and their families. Um, we're dropping this Friday night, of course, but just if you're listening to it on Saturday morning, which I recommend, I think it plays well on Saturday mornings and anytime, really. But Saturday, May 2nd is Comics Giveaway or Free Comic Book Day. I've seen people market it either way. And we're personally big fans of Kelly's Comics in Great Falls. They just have a great selection or how process of how they do the event. But the Muse Comics in Missoula also doing great. They're having like creators showing up and writers and um when I asked them last month about it, they were like, "Yeah, we don't limit people either, just as supplies last." And Kelly's Comics I like because they put everything in a big bag if you get there early enough, and then you just grab them. And they have like bags just for the kids' comics or all the bags, and including the mature titles. And I'm just very excited about that the event keeps happening, and try spend at least $20 in back issues and such. I'm gonna want to get this current issue of Uncanny X-Men 27 and then Godzilla Infinity War issue 3 um as there's a specific reason why I want those and they weren't in my pre-order selection. Also, um talking to friend of the show, Adam, host of the Incredible Comic Books Beyond podcast, and I looked up March 2026 shipping through ICV2, and they're losing the Comics Hub sales numbers, and X-Men's double shipping's working, and they got all 3 issues of X-Men, issues 26, 27, 28 in the top 50, so clearly the double shipping is working for that title. And so, as I've been saying since I guess the West Wing came out, education solves most problems. It's the silver bullet. And now that I'm educated, I will stop complaining about double shipping as clearly it's working and it's in the top 50. In my mind, I was like, yeah, like all these titles barely cracked the top 50. But I'm like, no, demand's there. People are buying them. I'm buying them. So, yeah. So one less complaint to go forward. I had to just prevent myself from having the knee-jerk reaction of being like, double shipping. But I'm like, no, it's working. And of course, no one's forcing you to buy these comics. You know, it's an adult hobby, so yeah, like don't buy the comics then. I keep having this fantasy of the Russell Dodderman Kitty Pryde costume gallery cover being revealed, and I made the huge mistake of being like, well, I just buy the magic one on eBay because I'm not spending $35 on a cover, but I think I spent up to like 40 for it, which, not too bad, but it took me 2 months until I finally found someone selling it and people weren't buying the copies underneath me. Well, it's eBay. I mean, they properly outbid me um for the right to own the comic, and that's classic me just trying to complain and then being complimentary after because I can't stand my voice once it's like, oh, I've complained too long. Let's start giving a positive spin to this. So in that scenario, when the Kitty Pryde Dodderman cover comes out, and if it's a $35 comic, I'm just buying that comic and then adding comics to the pre-order list for DCBS until it hits 50. And then I'm like, well, don't come out the same month Daughterman cover comes out. But also, I bought the Cyclops cover on eBay for like $8. So, I mean, I get Magic is super popular. Like, she's a third of this show. And, people are gonna buy that cover, but I do regret being like, well, now that I've been burned, I would just go forward being like, whenever that cover comes out. So, and I want to say Dodderman did not a Wasp cover recently, but some Avengers cover, and I was like, oh, he's still doing it. We still have a chance, everybody. So, anyways, but X-Men United 4, the Luciano Vecchio Kitty Pride cover, Pride with an I there. That's probably gonna go down as the cover of the year. Only thing I could think that will even compete with it will be a Russell Dodderman cover. In my mind, every costume of Kitty's has a Lockheed on it, but then I think that's just covering up awesome cover costumes we'll get of hers. So I imagine the center one has a Lockheed, and then all the other ones will go Lockheed-less. But all or no Lockheed, right? No, I would like a Lockheed. That'd be nice. We're definitely never gonna get a Russell Dodderman Lockheed cover. But maybe we'll get a Luciano Vecchio Lockheed cover if they were made lovable Lockheed into a printed comic. Because when else will we get it? I don't know. Anyways, since we're not going too deep into too many comics, I thought we'll just do a back issue. I appreciate everyone who's been sending emails and comments to me and on my socials at JackalsIII. And they're like, hey, we like the back issues. And so I have a Punisher back issue coming up in 2 weeks. We're going to spotlight for the Punisher one-shot special. And then the Summer of Dark Web we're going to cover here. And so, yeah, since we're not going too deep, we were going to do Marauders Volume 1, Number 1. And by favorite series, I mean Marauders Volume 1, Chef's Kiss of a series. Marauders Volume 2, I would still connect to Marauders and be like, yeah, best two minis like series of the Krakoan era. Especially, I mean, I had a knee-jerk reaction there too, being like, Volume 2, not for me, but then reading them again, I was like, yeah, there's 2 issues of the 9 that I question. And then I'm just like, yeah, but even those 2 issues, they're not as confusing as my memory of them are. And so here we are. So Volume 1, Issue 1 is brought to us by writer Jerry Duggan, artist Matteo Loi, color artist Federico Blay, letter VC's Corey Pettit, design by Tom Muir. And I got the Russell Dodderman cover, as I'm just a sucker for that guy. And head of X was Jonathan Hickman, assistant editor Chris Robinson, editor Jordan D. White, editor-in-chief C.B. Sabowski, chief creative officer Joe Quesada, and president Dan Buckley, and executive producer Alan Fine. Oh no, I just had a thought about how I didn't check my microphone before doing this. So testing. Oh yeah, the middle microphone thing is popping up, so I think we're okay. But yikes. Anyway, so not long ago in Center Park, Storm is talking with pals Nightcrawler and Storm. Nope. Pals Kitty Pryde and Nightcrawler, and she's gonna go by Kate in this era of Krakoa, so I'm just gonna call her Kate going forward, just to get that out of the way. And so the mutants are all going through it, and Kitty says, "See you on the island," and then we get the classic panel that will get homage in Hellfire Gala 2023, but Kate can't use the gates as her powers mess with technology, and so she gets a broken nose. And they are like, what do we do now about that? And we get a little introduction page of our cast. Ahoy, muties! Mutants around the world are flocking to the island nation of Krakoa for safety, security, and to be part of the first mutant society. Many nations have recognized Krakoa's statehood in exchange for life-changing pharmaceuticals, allowing Krakoan gates to be placed in key locations for mutants to travel through. Some nations, however, have declined to recognize mutant sovereignty. And our cast is Kitty Pryde, Lockheed, Storm, Nightcrawler, Iceman, Wolverine, Emma Frost, Bishop, and Pyro. Two of these people, one of these will appear in this title, but not be a team member. I'll let you figure out who that is. No, two, because I forgot about Nightcrawler. Oh, Nightcrawler, who could have been on this title a lot more. Also could have been used more in the X Swords event that one day I own all the issues of, and then it's like a 15-part crossover. I have 12 of the 15 because neither Kate Pryde nor Magic are in two of the issues. And now it's just a matter of finding out a calendar year where I can just do a pure 15 issue run. I'm surprised I got Dark Web out of the way, but well, that's a tie-in with a movie, so I was like, we'll make that work. But oh hey, issue number 1. I'm on a boat. That's fun. Anyone else listen to the Lonely Islands and Seth Meyers podcast? I'm a fan of it. So we get top secret eyes only access from the Office of Naval Intelligence to, and that's been redacted, Krakoan desk at all points, subject evidence located from recent observation international waters surrounding Krakoa. Notes the recovery of Lotsam has only yielded one confirmed piece of intel directly traceable to a Krakoan. The mutants don't litter much. So far, the lone exception is a message in a wine bottle from Catherine Kitty Pryde, aka Shadowcat, aka Sprite, like deep cut. The recovered bottle is being sent to USA Merid for genetics and for Senix. Message as follows. Day 1. I, Kate Pryde, being of sound mind, steal this boat from you. Sorry, I promise I'm trying to have someone return it back to the slip in San Diego. I went to a sailing summer camp as a kid and I love it, so she's in good hands. And I'll admit, I sort of missed out on like all but the last year of the Krakoan era, and so I read all these as like back issues, digital comics, and just I did have a local comic book shop, and so I was just pretty much existing on whatever Uncanny X-Cast or Comic Book Queers was telling me about them, and then finally I was like, wait, there's digital comics, I could do that at least. And then the last year I was able to start using DCBS, that's just a monetary luxury I, can afford. And because I don't, no alcohol and no drugs for me, so my hobby's comics. So here we go. I'm pretty boring. Like whenever you go to a doctor's office and they're just like, you do this, and it's like, no, I don't smoke, like I don't drink, like, all right, well shoot, we gotta lose weight some other way. Like, all right, thank you, doc. Um, Day 2, I'm the captain now. Day 3, I know why pirates drink so much. Life at sea can be pretty boring. If I drink all this, Logan would kill me. Day 4, captain's log. Lucky loves being on the water. I guess that's why there were never many squirrels around this mansion. He was eating them all. Now he's eating sushi. Oh, I was leading up to, I sort of skipped the data pages. So, and you can follow along on my TikTok and YouTube channels, JackalsIII, as I'm going to post the art of the here, but as I didn't think to save the data pages, but I probably should have. Day 5. It's like all my friends went on vacation without me to a remote island that once was a trap for them. Everyone is so on board with this plan, even the mutants we used to have to punch. If I can't use the gates, what am I? I can't just be Ileana's backpack. I mean, she would porter me around, but am I really so useless now? Oh, I didn't know Ileana. Tell you, like these data pages, you gotta read them. Day 6. It's taking me some extra time to get to Krakoa because of a whiskey and dude navigational error. I decided to keep a log of my crimes. It's pretty dumb, so I'm going to rip these pages, shove them into an empty bottle, seal the top with wax, and if this message is and a bottle is found, please know that I am sorry I stole the boat. Let's face it, the owner's not getting it back. I hope whoever reads this someday is having a better time than me. I'm having a slightly better. Subject Pride does seem to be able to interface with the mutant transit system. Possible opportunity to leverage forward to PSYOP marked high priority. And then we get Lockheed. He ate something and is giving Kitty the remainder wing as a, thanks. He has very cat behavior. One time, My sister's cat, Junior, the daughter or the son of the first cat we owned, um, and came home and he just had a dead like a bird in his mouth, and I was just like, no buddy, I can't let you bring them in. And they weren't like we had like cats growing up, and like this is the first time they actually brought a cat. I was like, I've heard of cats doing this, but we're not that, you're not these type of cats. So I was like no, but he just kept looking at me like in the house, and I'm like no. And of course I could go into the house and risk him bring the bird in, but at one point he's like, "Well, what's the worst case? He brings it in, I get some paper towels, and then I scoop it up." And I was like, "No, this is silly. We're not doing this." And then I went to look for a stick to be like chase after the stick. Like, give me time to unlock the door and in. And then finally, I think I unlocked the door, pleaded for him to keep moving forward, and then I think he took two steps to the left and made a jump to the left, and I tried to open the door, and then I guess that spooked him, and he opened his mouth and the bird flew away from the open door, thankfully. But I was like, man, I'm glad I didn't just have that plan to be like, yeah, come on inside. Like we would have had a bird inside. I would have to explain how that happened, and there's just no explanation for it. Well, I mean that story, but just like no, obviously you don't let the cat inside of a bird. Anyways, so then we see Krakoa from the shoreline. It's beautiful. It also walks like a man. And she's greeted by Curse, who's giving her time. I heard about you. You're the meeting that can't use the gates. And you're that kid everyone wants to fight. And it's like, oh, Kate. And then Bobby shows up. And then Logan runs out because he really wants his alcohol. Logan's shopping list. Kitty, I owe you one. Here's my list. Ribs. From the rendezvous in Memphis, they'll FedEx to you. Have dry ice ready. Canadian club whiskey. Just a couple of cases should do for now. Suds. Load the meat rest of the hold with as many cases as you can. I prefer bottles, but maybe go with cans in case you hit rough seas. Cubano sandwiches, which thanks to Ryan Guy of Turtle Soup, um, he got me like he talked about Cubano subs, and I was like, man, I like that sounds delicious. And every time I've had one, it has been delicious. Um, from the wine cellar in the village, cram as many as you can into the cooler. Pomade, the Dapper Dude one, and keep that under your hat. Oh, coffee. I'm trying to get Doug to get the island and grow some for us. Until then, oh, make sure it's ground for a cone. I got forged to whip up a solar coffee machine. I think it's for now. Hey, had an idea when you get here, maybe the gates will work on this side for you or for shot, Logan. And then Bobby uses one of the gates and Kate's annoyed. And then we see Emma. She explains to Kate the goal of how they want to rescue mutants wherever they need to be. And so she got her a proper ship, and they are going to, you know, find mutants everywhere and get them to Krakoa. And then Lockheed has brought her a crab. That guy's just the best. And in Russia, Bobby shows up. They're like, hey, we don't want the Krakoan gates here. And they defrost him. And so he jumps through the gates, and now Kate and Storm have a mission. Meanwhile, in Taipei, Taiwan, do they name her? Mrs. Zorro is missing her husband, and she's blaming the mutants. Unfortunately, she's doing it at a press conference, so now Bishop's like, we'll look into it if you think it's mutant related. Like, she doesn't want that. And then we see the beginnings of the team. It's going to be Kate Pride, Storm, Pyro, and Iceman, and Lockheed. So I love that. I mean, I like Pyro from his Brotherhood days, but never much of a in present day when when I was buying comics month to month, Pyro was never a big star, so this got me to become a huge Pyro fan. I'm glad he never went, he never broke bad. And then we get them at Russia. The military's ready to fight them off, and so Kitty breaks a guy's neck, or at least does whatever this is, and like stuns him. And then and this is just ruthless Kate Pride. Like she's a modern hero in a modern era. She grabs a gun, shoots that guy in the kneecap. She steals this other guy's gun and phases it between his leg and his idiot goon friend's legs. And I've always said if Kitty Pryde and Invisible Woman ever decide to go bad together, like they'd be unstoppable. But honestly, either one by themselves, unstoppable. But the two of them together, like just Kate Pryde, Invisible, just I don't know, ripping out hearts as quickly as possible. Like, yeah. Imagine Kate Pryde in a Mortal Kombat game. Like with all the fatalities, she'll go crazy with her. So I guess Pride wouldn't have to fade or go invisible. She literally just go under the ground where you are and put your ankles in the ground, and then you're just going to slowly die. Though she did that to Thor once, and I'm not sure how that didn't kill him because one of his legs just literally form around like in the ground. But I imagine you say he's an Asgardian god, and that's how it worked around. But still, like, well, I mean that's how. But if she ever did it to regular folk, like they'd be dunzos. And then Kate Pride versus Tank. Kate wins. And then we get her Krakoan signature weapon. She takes this guy's gun or sword, quite different weapon, and now she has a sword. My favorite S word, sword. And then Pyro's having a little issue, and then Lockheed shows up, and now Pyro has access to Dragonfire, a fistful of Dragonfire. So now he's been stepped up a level, so that's pretty awesome. Because Pyro, he doesn't create the flames, he controls the flames, which is still, more than I could do. So. And so Kate can't use the portal here still, or gate. They're not portals. And then a newscaster says, oh, not newscaster, the lady with her phone. So it says, thank you. We were going to ship us out of the gulag soon. And Kate says, keep recording. If you're a mutant and can't get to Krakoa, then the Marauders will bring you home. And we get the title drop. And it's great splash page. And the Kitty Pryde action figure with the scarf was free if you bought a Marvel, or it was included if you subscribed to Marvel Unlimited. And my wife literally was like, yeah, do it. And I was like, oh, it's like $90. She's like, we'll do it. And I was like, well, it comes with a Kate Pride thing. It was just one of those times where, like you're on a budget, but my lovely wife was just like, yeah, buy it. Like, and I think I went all the way up to the purchase screen. It was like $90. Like, it's just so much for an app I'm not going to use too much. Even though if I had X-Men or Marvel Unlimited for a year, I would have used it. Like, who was I kidding? But anyways, so I could have this awesome costume. Thankfully, she will take on a new moniker during the Krakoan era, and this won't be her permanent look, but because I would like Pride to never go back to black and yellow again, like she's done it. Like blue is a great color for her. Red is even better. But yeah, like, and then later we see that she's making herself a captain now on the new ship. Lockheed has come back. Oh man, Lockheed looks like he has fingers in his mouth. I don't think I ever noticed that before. Yikes. And Kate says yes to both of Emma Frost's propositions. And we get an awesome final page splash of the team, the Marauders. And if you ever see a Krakoan Quiet Council listing, like Kate's part of the initial burst, but not the very first assemble. Like they're missing a chair, and so Jean Grey was a quiet council member, and like as per the rule, Pride and Jean Grey can barely be in the same room together for too long. And even when Jean came back during the X-Men Gold era, the second one, they and Jean was on X-Men Red, like the first one, the Taylor's version. They barely spent time together there too, so it's just a rule. And this shall be continued. And then there's some sinister secrets. Final page of teases. The Red Diamond. All the best news and the gossip from Bar Sinister. It's odd that Mr. Sinister was never a movie villain, huh? Like they gotta correct that in these new MCU ones. Sinister Secret number 11. Whispers on the wind that a certain mutant undergoing a new phase of their life is sitting on quite an offer. It won't last, but I wonder if they would be surprised to know they were not the first nor the second choice. Perhaps the third time's the charm. So that's Kate Pride, but can't imagine who else Emma would have wanted in that position. Sinister Secret 12. Humanity's health and well-being was never a popular topic around Bar Sinister, but now Krakoan medicines are keeping us afloat. We probably ought to pay attention to the changing of the tides at Hellfire Bay. We hear one of the seas to be carefully navigated is deep in red, which I imagine is just the Red Queen's Bay. Sinister Secret 13. Speaking of the black and white, not everyone got their invite. Quite a fox posse. We hope there's not a fight, which Sebastian and Frost will be at each other's throats constantly. Sinister Secret 14. Humans wearing sheets always lead to trouble. Who are these kooky new looky-loos crowding our gates? I'm not sure what that's a reference to. Sinister Secret 15. We hear the slow boat is built to catch all the eyes, but it's the one under the radar that's keep really turning heads. Okay, I'm not sure what that one's about. Oh, no. I think that's future Marauders plot of there is like a submarine in the water watching and the Marauders would deal with it. And this came out when X-Men Volume 5-1, Marauders Volume 1, Excalibur Volume 4-1, New Mutants Volume 4-1, X-Force Volume 6-1, Fallen Angels Volume 2-1, X-Men Volume 5-2, Excalibur 2, Marauders 2, New Mutants 2, X-Force 2, and Fallen Angels 2. And I don't know, some of that could have been Orcish related, and I feel like Magic nor Kate Pride or Lockheed were ever involved in Orcus subplot. So like until Fall of 10, um I'm not like I guess I just felt disconnected from Orcus, so they never felt like a big threat to me. And then Powers of House of X, Powers of 10 was also like okay, like yeah, Orcus seems like a big deal. And then I don't know, I never got much to it. Um, all right, so next up, um, got nervous there about if I had the microphone plugged into the other one or that just records from the laptop one or the headphone one, but it's the headphone one. Okay, Uncanny X-Men Volume 6, 27. Writer Gail Simone, artist Luciana Vecchio, who I love, color artist Matthew Wilson, which I love that this volume of Uncanny X-Men is maintaining the same color artist. Letter VC's Clayton Cowles. I did ask about the lack of inkers in this modern era of comics, and people are like, well, they're digitally making the art, so pencilers don't need inkers anymore. And so, yeah, they're just artists now. I guess they're not pencilers anymore either, right? They're just digital. Well, they're comic book artists. We open with Warden Ellis and dying Philip in the Grey Malkin prison, the former Xavier Institute. A good reminder of this plot still around. Once Philip dies, inmate X is going to get out and Ellis is going to be next. We do get Monet for a panel, so that's nice. She has a picture of Quicksilver, which, not to beat this drum again, but why isn't he trying to break her out? Lotus does seem like a resort that one just can't get away from unless you sign a contract to attend a concert. Would have been nice to see Dazzler here. They found Xavier's hover chair, which is fun to see. That thing is a very bright yellow. Elsewhere, the all new mutants are getting their first Danger Room fight. In a very fun page turn reveal, they are going to fight Moon Boy and Devil Dinosaur. Meanwhile, the Haven House, Rogue, Logan, Nightcrawler, and Jubilee are looking for the outliers. Rogue says, okay, I don't think I need to say this, but them kids, they gotta be brought back, even if it means hiding. Which, does that make sense? Repeating it for the sixth time, I think it means if they are hiding from the X-Men, they still need to be brought back. Which I think Nightcrawler must have immediately understood what his sister meant, as he's not sure if she means what she means. St. Thomas Abbey abandoned, mostly. Gambit makes a deal with Vig, who we're not getting rid of anytime soon. 20% of the Thieves Guild profits go to Vig just to help find the kids. Gambit says, I belong to you again. And he's sad, which I get, but does he belong to him? Seems like Gambit's going to write him a check every month, and there's shouldn't be much drama there. I mean, should Remy have put an end date on that? Yeah, probably, as even a year's worth of would have been pretty solid. Plus, what happens when Gambit doesn't pay? Vig takes the outliers? Actually, he might do that if that's what happens. Louisiana X-Men arrive home and we see the new mutants, Moonstar, Karma, Cannonball, Sunspot, and Wolfsbane. Elsewhere, and I'm on record for being a huge fan of Vecchio's art, but sometimes it's hard to tell Jitter and Death Dream apart when they're both wearing a new mutants uniform specifically. They both have short black hair and are very slender. Becca says Ember looks very downy, and he does. Oh yeah, you can go to my website, shadowandflame.com, shadowandflamewithmagic.com. Honestly, I keep dropping the with magic part. Um, and uh on Monday and see these pictures and follow along that way if you so choose. Ransom wants Kalikyo to Valley of Gani, Devil Dinosaur, a movie that's fully available on YouTube. Thanks, Adam Reck of Comics XF, for cluing me onto this. Will I watch it? Could be fun, but I'm 3 Daredevil episodes behind and barely started Punisher Season 2, but I'll add it to my list. Ember does continue to look downy here. Moonboy attacks Jitter. She tries translating Moonboy's language to English, which is handy. Unfortunately, Matina is also too handy and cuts off Moonboy's head. Like, yikes. So they did survive the experience, which is nice. Beast tells them that they usually don't kill their opponents, but, good job. Nightcrawler alerts everybody that Sentinels are at the door, and we get even more twists. Sentinels hunt mutants to eat them. We have zombie mutants, y'all. They're inmates that the Trask turn into robots who eat mutants. Imagine the blueprints for these guys. Nightcrawler teleports Death Dream and Jitter, and we learn he has 2 extra but short arms, so they are definitely in a different timeline. We get Kalikyo, Ember, and Matina team up. Matina was willing to be Becca's friend, but Becca wants to help out, which is a turnoff, which is all just fun. Dr. Mariah McTaggart mentions the professor, and is around here that I'm remembering as she keeps saying professor, but I don't think she's ever said X. Though we do know it's the Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters. Jitter takes out a Sentinel thanks to a field testing the shock gloves that Spider-Man gave her. That feels right. Or that feels weird, right? Like, all we saw before when she got rescued by the X-Men was that her mother was sending her to school to be bullied by purposely bullied. So why does she have shock gloves from Spider-Man? So the outliers are in the bodies of their counterparts here. I do wish they had their memories of their time together, but it's fun to see their relationships get reestablished here as Ransom and Death Dream seem to be getting along like brothers. But Tina decided to stick around, so that's nice. Ember doesn't look as dowdy now that he's lit up again. Becca continues to be a delight calling the Sentinels duty heads. She's just simply the best. Just in time, we get their reinforcements. which is Professor S for Sauron, is here with his X-Men. Magic Opus, Kalogic, Siren, and Warpath. Magic has Colossus powers, and Colossus has Magic's powers, which I don't think we've seen. He even has his own headset thing. So I don't know why he would don Magic's headdress, but sure. Someone said they were Tiara, and I'm like, I don't know. I feel like Tiara is always equal to Star in my head, and so Magic's head thingies is what I think the fandom's been calling them. I've also heard them be referred to as a Kirby hat, but I'm like, well, I really like Magic's head thingy as she's a silly girl sometimes, so I don't know. Um, so there's a whole backstory there I want to see. And now that I've said Magic's here, that's why I want to get Uncanny X-Men by issue 27 because I gotta get this issue now. Siren's a prisoner of Garmalkin. I'm not sure we're supposed to be reminded of that. I imagine this is Warpath to go with Siren's inclusion. Sauron's always a fun pull. So where is Xavier? Does it matter? Haven House, Rogue almost touches Cannonball's hand, and this makes the New Mutants freak out as her touch is death to men. Rogue tries to assure them, but they don't need it. They're cool of Rogue and her mission to kill the Avengers. So there's so many twists this issue. Is this a 3 or 4-parter? It seems like we need an explanation issue before we get to the concluding issue. And we are only getting wilder from here, folks. And then we're going to spoil the next comics very quickly. So Generation X 23-3, Chuck Polo Kamagi's final issue. Marco Arena helps finish the art duties that I believe carries on to the rest of the series. That couldn't have been an easy phone call to get. I really like the tribute they put in the front of this issue for Jacopo Camagni. And I really like X-92. She seems fun. She's mutant, tries to help Laura out. We get the time distortions back, so maybe we will get an explanation for why Age of Apocalypse Shadowcat's appearance from the first issue, which is still a great pull for me. X-Infinity's up to no good. He and Laura don't trust each other. She doesn't appreciate him experimenting for burnt skin. She hates that. He's racked with guilt as the generates have added powers because that was his idea, so he feels responsible for fixing them. Military goons show up and take Gabby and the other subjects. I really like that we've got some Jack Polo Camagni's sketchbook pages as bonus material. Wiccan's Witches Road 5, Storm and Wanda show up. I like them being on the rescue duty so Wiccan can be the main hero. Adi's fighting Baba Yaga as she's appearing in Magic and Colossus in issues 3 and 4. Maybe this takes place before that issue. Kate Bishop's also in this. Wolverine Weapons of Armageddon 3, Logan and David Colton, the mid Captain America, as in, not mid as in quality, but just mid as in timeline purposes, are on the run. Nuke with enhancements confronts them again. The gal who set off this adventure dies. I'm just not sure how this all launches into a mega crossover. Next week's comics will be X-Men Volume 729, Cyclops Volume 4, Civil War Unmasked 1 that I pre-ordered. It references Bishop from the Days of Future Past timeline, which doesn't quite add up there. But I was like, Days of Future Past, maybe Bishop's talking to Kate Pryde. I better pre-order it. So I don't know. Storm, Earth's Mightiest Mutant 4, Wade Wilson, Deadpool 4, and Captain Marvel, Dark Past 2. And top 10 comics, X-Men United 1 with Mary Gold 2, Magic and Colossus 3, Moonstar 2, Avengers Volume 934 with Kitty Pryde. Generation X 23 of Age of Apocalypse, Shadowcat, Sorcerer Supreme 3 of Madame Pryor. Wolverine Volume 817, X-Men Volume 728, and I'm going to add Uncanny X-Men Volume 627 to the list to make this worth reading out. And Cyclops Volume 4-2 rounds out our list. And that, everyone, was episode 227 of Shadow and Flame of Magic. I'm going to put up my follow-along videos on TikTok and YouTube, and then the Purity the Art clip show slideshow on Sundays on JackalsIII on YouTube and TikTok. Thank you everyone who watches this on YouTube and listens on it on your preferred podcast apps. And you can follow me on Blue Sky at JackalsIII. There is the podcast's Instagram account at S&FwM. I would love for people to start following that more, please. And if you're a Redditor, there's the Daily Lockheed, who is also available on um, Twitter and Blue Sky. And I believe that wraps up everything, everyone. So please go support your local comic book store for free comics as they give away comics. And try to give them some money as this is their Black Friday essentially. And thank you so much for watching or listening. And until next time, please don't have any shadows of doubts. Ignite those flames and make like magic and get out of limbo, please. It's not a good place to be. Actually, I'm sure Madam Pryor's doing a great job there. All right, everyone. Until next time, bye.